everyone. Welcome to the VGB's podcast. This is episode 17. Wowie, wowie, zowie. I'm one of your hosts, John Warren, with my forever co-host, Niki Grayson. Hi, Niki.
Wowie, zowie.
Wowie,
Remember
zowie.
Super Mario Wonder? That was last year.
That game
fell off
last year. It fell off because it's like a normal ass game. It you play it and then it ends.
And it's done. But did that happen with Odyssey?
No, but that's a bigger game. That's a bigger game.
Okay, sure. I just think it's like,
but
nobody fucking talks about it.
Yeah, that's true.
like, but nobody.
It's
fucking
a little
talks
weird
about it.
You're right.
Like whole ass Mario game came out last year, and like,
and nobody talks about it.
I functionally don't remember that it happened.
Yeah, and it was really good,
weird. And it was great. Yeah, it was great.
Really good.
It was the first 2D Mario game that I finished.
Yeah,
my life.
It's a really good one. Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
What's that about?
It's honestly a good question. I don't know why. I think maybe last year was such an absolute just a mess of really, really good games that people really gravitated toward for a long period of time, including Baldur's Gate 3. Mm-hmm. And I think they just that was it for a lot of people that year. That's a good question though. As it feels like it shouldn't have dropped off.
No, and it's good that we don't. This is our Nintendo Minute because there's nothing else for us to talk about.
There's nothing else Nintendo related to talk about. Yeah.
Did you see what the show is?
I did.
Sorry. Yeah, VGB's podcast.
I did. Yeah, VGB's episode 17. I did that.
Episode 17. Yeah.
I did want to ask you quick, and folks, I will put this is not a JPEG description podcast, but I'm going to put a link to something visual. We're just going to take about 2 minutes to talk about the 30 NBA City Edition jerseys that were announced.
That's awesome.
For folks that don't know, there are basically 3 base NBA jerseys for every team. There's Association, there's
City Connect or City Edition.
No, yeah, but that's the
Statement.
4th one. No, but there's
Statement.
Association, and then there's the away one, which is called something different.
Statement.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's like it's Association. It's something.
I swear to God, it's Statement.
No, there is Statement. That's the 3rd
Icon
one.
And Statement.
Okay, so there's Icon and Association. And that's basically the typical home and away jersey.
Home away, yes.
Although they don't really do that designation anymore.
No.
There's a Statement jersey, which is a 3rd jersey. And now every single team has had a 4th City Edition jersey. And every year prior to this, I was talking to someone about it. I feel like they staggered the release of these, where it's like it was coming out, maybe one would come out in October, and then another team would have one out in early November. Mm-hmm. But they weren't announcing all of them before the season.
But now they are doing that because they didn't refresh any of the other.
They refreshed jerseys. Nothing. Yes. I think what happened is that Adam Silver sent a memo out. It's like we ran the numbers, we did the analytics. If we actually announce this shit before the season starts, where you're getting excited about your team, you're more likely to buy one of these fucking jerseys. Except they all look like shit because they rushed it.
From a toilet, yeah. From a fucking toilet. Now,
is there a single one of these that you like?
No.
The Pistons I kind of like the Pistons one. I was going to say the Pistons one is okay.
Detroit is okay.
Detroit Pistons is okay.
I like the idea of the Toronto one, which is the Raptor doing the Vince Carter dunk contest dunk. Mm-hmm. Except it doesn't make any sense that it is on a black jersey with weird pinstripes on it. Mm-mm. It doesn't make any sense. Mm-mm. The Suns is unbelievably bad.
It's just really bad.
Startlingly bad. Oklahoma needs to do a rebrand, and now my conspiracy theory. This is my huge conspiracy theory. Are you ready for it, John?
I'm ready.
They will do a rebrand when Seattle enters the league.
I agree. I agree with you.
I think it will be hand in hand because OKC does not hold the history of the Supersonics as it exists right now? It is currently with the city of Seattle, or do they have the history and it will move?
It is tricky. On all their printed stuff, they say our assist leader is Russell Westbrook, not Gary Payton.
Okay.
So that means that they are basically stating that their records are with it. Basically, the deal is, as I understand it, is that they still kind of own it. So if basically Seattle is like, if every tech company moves out of Seattle and it makes no sense to open a basketball, move a basketball team there, then Oklahoma City would probably like readopt those.
For sure.
Those stats, essentially, because they have the rights to them, but they only have the rights to them as long as Seattle does not start a basketball team called the Supersonics.
And they are going to,
and they will have a team.
2 years.
Yes,
well,
they will
3
have
years. I would.
The Supersonics will go back to Seattle. It just is all but announced. I agree with you. OKC needs a rebrand badly.
Yes,
and
I think it could be interesting. It won't be.
It won't be.
But I think it could be interesting. I do actually think that the Hornets rebrand when the Bobcats turned into the Hornets, when the Pelicans turned from the Hornets to the Pelicans, which was weird. They only did half of that, right?
Yep.
Right. Like they had the opportunity to do both of them well, and they only did one of them well. Yep. So sorry to Vegas or Seattle. One of you is going to get shafted on this one. And it's probably going to be Vegas, if I had to assume, because the Seattle job is already done. They don't have to do anything.
What do you think the Vegas team name will be?
You got to tie it into the Aces, right? Because they're already successful. So I would assume, but there's no
the Kings.
There's no. That's good.
The Las Vegas and the Sacramento Kings.
That's good.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. There's nothing higher than the Ace, right? And the league owns both, right? So you're not going to let
you can't be the Las Vegas Jokers,
which is like would be fun.
Kind of interesting.
Would that be fun?
But there's a guy called Joker,
for sure.
So I don't think they could do that. No. I think it'll be like, man, I don't know.
I'll ask Chad.
NBA 2K creators think it'll be like the Jacks or the Vipers. They keep making those.
The Vipers.
They keep making those like NBA 2K creative teams. They're like, what are we gonna name the Las Vegas team? And they keep coming back to like Jacks.
You were okay. So I'm telling Chad to pretend that he is an expert sports marketer.
Mm-hmm. You're an expert.
I need you to
marketer.
come up with 5 great ideas for an NBA team based name ideas for an NBA team based in Las Vegas. Do not make them stupid. I need them all to be fucking bangers.
Awesome.
If you fuck this up, I will be upset. So don't make a mistake. Okay,
that's right.
Memory updated is the first. Is the first thing.
I need to update my memory to not be a fucking idiot. Give me a second.
Jesus fucking Christ, Chad fucking sucks. Number 1, the Las Vegas High Rollers.
Oh man.
Number 2, the Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah, just why not? That's not going to cause any confusion. It's fine.
Number 3, the Las Vegas Neon Kings. Number 4,
you can't say Kings. Oh my god.
Number 4, the Las Vegas Silverbacks.
Oh.
And number 5, that one's loaded, huh? You can't have the
loaded,
NBA team be called the Gorillas
you
Gang.
Can't do that, guys.
Number 5, the Las Vegas Mirage. That one doesn't suck.
That one's okay.
Suck.
That one's okay.
I don't know what the guy is for that one, but that one doesn't suck. I'm upset. The second one is already taken, and the fourth one is racist, and then 1 and 4. A 1 and 3 suck ass. Memory updated. This content may violate our usage policies. Okay. Las Vegas Outlaws. He's trying again. Las Vegas Outlaws.
Okay.
Las Vegas Vipers. Jesus Christ.
They're just, I swear to God, they're just trolling fucking NBA 2K forums. That's what they're doing.
The Las Vegas Phantom, Renegades, and Inferno. So they're all bad.
They're all
bad. Of these are bad. I'm firing.
Bad. What's the state? You. Okay, State Bird of Nevada. The State Bird is a good
Christ. Tough. There's nothing in Nevada. Vegas just fucking call them the Dams. That's pretty good. The Las Vegas Dams. They block.
Dams. They block. What about the Vegas Sagebrush? What about the Vegas Sages?
Las Vegas Sages. Las Vegas Sages. They should just be here. Oh, you want to know something that's completely fucked?
You could just Las Vegas Basketball Club.
That's John, exactly it. I do wonder if this is the first time that they will be like, we can't figure it out. And they're going to be like, that's insane that you pulled that thought out of my fucking head, because that is exactly what it was going to be.
It'll be LVBC.
And that's just going to be what it is.
Yeah.
Las Vegas Basketball Club. And then there will be fun letter treatments to it. And then they'll have a nickname for sure. But like, I don't know. I do think there is something sick and cool about, and this won't happen because Mark Davis won't own the team, but I do think that there is something great about teams in England and in Europe broadly in soccer. When they have a men's and a women's side, it just is.
It's just the same name.
Liverpool,
right? I mean, I think it could do Aces. It
would be cool, and it was like, this is the Aces basketball club. And we have a men's and a women's division. Right. But they just, the owners of the Warriors they just got a WNBA team. They own the team. They called it the Valkyries. So they're not going to do that.
Right.
But I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to go to at least 2 Laker games this year, which is crazy because they're so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I want to go to more games. I live very close to the Cowboys Stadium now, even though we fucking suck ass.
That's good though. Tickets are cheaper.
That's good though. Tickets might be cheaper. Instead of $400, it might be $200.
Yeah, that's tough. The cheapest Chargers ticket for next week's game was like $98.
Wow.
It's like, that's too much fucking money.
That's too much for the Chargers. Although they look good this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, but like, I'm not trying to pay $98 to go to Inglewood.
I know. You know? I know. That's too much.
And like the Clippers games, like I understand that the building is new, but like Clippers Trailblazers, snooze fucking snooze fest. Like $70.
Stupid.
Like, what are we doing?
That's too much. That's too much.
That building's gonna be empty. I'm so excited about it.
I'm excited about it too. But maybe if we want to go to Laker game, we could borrow some money from Nintendo because they're about to have a lot more of it.
Yeah, they are.
Because they're suing, as of this week, Pocket Pair. That's right, the makers of Palworld. Remember that game? Everyone?
Yeah, so does Nintendo.
The one with the Pokemon with guns that came out almost 10 months ago. Nintendo filed suit this week, and it's not the kind of suit that I think a lot of people expected them to file.
Yeah.
We are recording this on Thursday afternoon. That's September 19th. This is a developing story, so by the time you listen to this, maybe sometime next week or something, we might know more information. But a lot of this is going to be speculative. What we do know is it is a patent-based lawsuit, not copyright.
Copyright, which is different. When John sent me this text yesterday, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I guess good for them. Because I was under the impression that they were getting them on the fact that some of the guys are straight up lifted from the video game.
Yeah.
And I was
that video of those guys going, that's just Black Lucario. It's like, yep.
Like that's literally, and that's what I thought that they were getting them on. But actually Nintendo is getting them on patent troll level stuff.
Yes. And we are unaware, as is apparently, according to them, Pocket Pair of which patent they have actually violated. There's some, some really good,
but like
they know, I think, and it is a patent that was granted to Nintendo from the country of Japan in 2023 for the mechanic of throwing a ball into a field and capturing a monster. So that is a mechanic that is now patented by Nintendo. You cannot make a game
where you
that
throw
has
an
that mechanic.
egg at a guy. Yes.
I
read an article. There's an article on 404 Media, which you can go read right website. Now. Mm-hmm. Good website, where they interview a lawyer in Japan, who is an expert in patent law. And Nintendo loves to do this specific thing where they will get you on technicality. Yeah. And then they very critically, they don't lose. They've never lost. Nintendo has never lost a lawsuit, which is like a crazy stat. Like,
that's like a joke for a TV show.
Yes.
Like, oh, we wrote this character and never lost a lawsuit.
Yeah, they never lose.
That doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. But like when Nintendo starts a lawsuit, they have never lost. Mm-hmm. And they're suing in Japan. And there is precedent for them to do this exact thing, where they in the past have sued a mobile game maker. It was the biggest mobile game in Japan, and they were suing them over something tiny that was like a welcome back to the game. Would you like to resume from where you picked up? And it was a confirmation box, and Nintendo has a patent on that. And then the court ruled that they took that without licensing. So now they won some number of millions of dollars, and then now the studio has to pay Nintendo every year or whatever money to license this idea of welcoming you back to the video game when you have stopped playing it so you can play it. And it's like, what are we doing? Like it is fundamentally insane. If you don't want people to crib your shit, Nintendo, perhaps make a Pokemon game that is not a retread of the Pokemon game that you've been making for 65 years.
Right. Yeah.
Perhaps. If your flavor can be chomped this deeply, perhaps the flavor is stale. Gang.
They would rather how I'm looking at it is like, if it really is just a mechanical patent lawsuit, and they cannot. This is the other thing I was trying to figure out. Mm-hmm. They cannot bring possible copyright infringements into this conversation.
No, and it would have to be a second. It would have to be a
totally separate thing.
Yeah.
The courts look at it completely different. It is a totally different thing. So it's not like they can start this process and go, by the way, as evidence that they're willing to infringe, they made Black Lucario. Like, no, they can't do that.
Right.
So it's a fully separate thing. This is based on what we believe to be a mechanical patent.
Which makes sense, right? Because it's like, that conversation that you're talking about is subjective. It is like, are you able to
get in front of a judge that can be savvy enough,
right, to be like, these lizards are obviously different. Right. Like, no one is going to confuse these lizards.
It's a dice roll.
Your lizards. Yes.
It's a dice roll. Like, in my head, I think, well, some judge that doesn't know fucking anything would just look at those two Lucarios and be like, those are the same.
Yeah.
But there might be an artistic-minded judge or something, or someone really pedantic, and saying like, well, that dog is different enough from that dog. So yeah, but this is not. This is, like you're saying, this is more of a, are you doing this mechanic? And it's very clear and cut and dried if they are. So my question, which I've reached out to a couple of attorneys, we may speak to one next week as a bonus or something. My question to attorneys is, did it really take this long for Nintendo to put this together?
I think, and this is what the person that 404 spoke to said, is that it probably did not take them that long to decide that they were going to do it. What they actually took the time to do is make sure that they had literally every single angle covered that Pocket Pair could possibly come back to be like, no, this is different. So they were basically fighting themselves from Pocket Pair's perspective to make sure that this is as Loctite as possible.
That's what you got to do.
How they have won every single which is again an insane statistic.
Yep.
Every single time this company has sued another company or a person, they have won.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
And this is the flip side of Nintendo. I mean, I've been really, really pretty effusive over the past few weeks about Nintendo's track record of just like sticking to their guns and making stuff that is just consistent and solid and great, and not worrying about a bunch of infinite growth bullshit and all that stuff. But this is the flip side of them taking things that are maybe perhaps fundamental to an aspect of their games, but not unique enough, in my opinion, to prevent other companies or creatives from incorporating those kind of mechanics into the game. They will protect those things. We saw this with the Nemesis system with Shadow of Mordor years ago. That patent was granted, and we have really seen a market slowdown in that kind of AI in action adventure games or any game. And it's because if it is beyond a certain kind of fidelity to what they did with Shadow of Mordor, they would have to pay probably an exorbitant licensing fee to have that happen.
Yeah.
Which is
now is like, it's just silly. It's just silly. Like Nintendo
silly.
doesn't need to. They don't need to do this, I think, is the issue. And it's like
you need to protect the patent, but you didn't have to file the patent in the first place.
For sure. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you are confident enough in the thing that you are making, and this is just how I feel as a person who is not in charge of anything legal or anything, right? But it's like, if you are confident enough in the thing that you are making, you should be able to be like, well, at the end of the fucking day, we are the only people who make Pokemon.
Right. We're going to do this the best. That's us.
Yes. So it doesn't matter. We don't need to file a patent on the idea of catching a guy via an egg in the wild. Like we don't need to patent that. And that's what Jason Schreier found, this patent from 2021, which seems to be perhaps the thing that they are hinging this lawsuit on. But it's like, Nintendo doesn't need to do this. Also, what does I had the name of the game in my head and now it's fallen out. What is the name of the Temtem? Like, what is that team thinking right now? Do they think that they have gotten away with one? Is Temtem not big enough? Like, what is the situation on the Temtem front? Is it tone?
My understanding is the mechanic was granted in Japan in 2023.
Yes.
So does release date have anything to do with this?
Yeah.
Is it a thing where once you're granted a patent, it's not retroactive? You can't just go around to people who used to do it and bully them. But my then question, because patents typically involve, as I understand it, a kind of a demonstration that this has not been brought forth. Like, this is where patents, to me, I got to be careful here, because I am part of a company that has patents, but I am also saying it is simply the act of bringing the idea to the patent office. Not a demonstration that you're the first person who executed
first person to do it. And it's really weird.
And patents are expensive.
Patents are expensive, but would I feel differently? Would this conversation have gone differently if Nintendo had filed this patent in 1997 or whatever the fuck, right? And it was like, well, they've been doing this. They've had it, but that's not the case, right?
That's not the case. It's new.
And Temtem, now that we're having this conversation, I am realizing that there is a difference than in the capture apparatus, right? Like in Temtem and in that one Pokemon game, and that's the fucking thing. They've only done this in one Pokemon game. The lift of acquisition of Pokemon as they exist in the wild and where you can roll up on them and then catch them is only in one game. It's only in Arceus. Yes. Yep. Temtem is the same as Pokemon, which is to say that you enter a battle, it takes you out of the world. There is a turn-based thing, and then at one point you decide to throw the ball to catch the thing. That is not what that patent that Jason Schreier found that again is like
action. It's an action fueled activity.
Yes. And it's like, no, like, I don't know. And again, it's like, it probably just isn't worth considering because it is not the truth or the case. But would this conversation be different if Nintendo had this patent since 1999, 1997, 1999, where they were sitting on this idea and they were like, when we have the technology to be able to do this, then we will do this. And then someone was like, well, okay, we did this. But no, this is an idea that they themselves could not execute until recently and did it poorly.
I think if that was the case, then there would be far fewer monster capture games, and there would probably be more pressure on Nintendo to do things actually interesting and different with the franchise, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, like, how free flowing are they going to be with it? Like, how do you catch shit in Digimon? I have no idea. Like a Digimon.
In Digimon, you don't catch those guys.
Okay, so are they just
they're just kind of out there, and you become
out there
friends. There's no like very explicitly. It's like there's a throw a thing at the guy, catch the dude. Right.
You have to
aspect of it, and that is not how it happens in Digimon.
Okay,
and like, but also, it is an advantageous situation for Nintendo to jump on this train, right? When Pocket Pair has very quickly made a lot of money off of a studio that is not paying well. You have to assume. Small team has made an unbelievable amount of money and then is doing what? Deal with Microsoft, deal with Sony.
Right.
Presumably to bring Palworld. There is a rumor that this game is going to be announced for PlayStation next week at TGS. And it's like, yeah, if you're Nintendo, of course you're trying to throw a fucking spanner in the works right now. And it's like, it's just really frustrating. They just don't need to do it. And the thing, I tweeted and deleted this. So VGB's podcast listeners, I think y'all get this, but it's like the Nintendo Switch rumor leak thing that happened yesterday felt so intentional to me in the aftermath of this lawsuit. It came out at, it was 5 p.m. Pacific time, right? Like 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
It was the end of day news dump. Yeah. And it's like, okay, so you've had the entirety of the news cycle today has been a jumble of fucking letters is the RAM. Jumble of fucking letters is and here's almost certainly a perfect representation 3D CAD model of this new Switch.
Yes.
You've had this all day. And at the end, you are like, and also we're suing the guys who made Palworld. Just to slide that in at the end. And it's like, that is intentional. Like, that's intentional. And like, and sure, the tides, the winds are blowing such that like, yeah, Nintendo almost definitely has to do the Direct this month. They almost definitely are about to start manufacturing this device in the course of the next 2 months to launch it in March.
But it wouldn't surprise me at all. And I think that's why I go back to that last question. It's like, I agree with you in that the 404 article that yes, it probably behooves them to go through all of those steps to make sure that they're completely covered. But when I look at it as simply as throw ball, capture in action thing, that doesn't take 10 months to figure out with a big league.
No, it doesn't. That takes 2 seconds.
I mean, they knew this back in May that they were going to do this.
But they had to have known this before May because you can do this shit in Craftopia. That's the thing.
I know. That's the other thing.
The biggest throw, right? Is that like the reason it feels so appalling is that it is so clearly Nintendo is saying, you motherfuckers made too much money off of this. And now it is our turn to collect because you made too much money on this.
And
they must have,
yeah.
Yeah, they must have known, but they had to have known when this game was announced 2 years ago. I think we were still at Fanbyte when Palworld got announced.
Yeah.
And it was like, they had to have seen that and been like, well, this looks like a Pokemon game, huh?
Yep.
Gang.
Yep.
It doesn't take them then 10 months after the release of the game once they've had 2.5 years. Like, that doesn't make any sense. They knew.
No. And
so it just doesn't feel.
I think you're right. The Switch 2 stuff is gearing up, and they had a meeting a month ago that was like, yeah, let's go ahead and fucking file that bad boy around the time that all the rumors are starting about Switch 2.
Yeah.
And then we'll drop
because it's convenient, right? Because
nobody will talk about this shit.
Yes.
After we release
because because you do this is the most concrete, and there's been a bunch of stuff on this specifically, and we'll probably talk about it, but it's like there's been a bunch of stuff about this specifically where the leak happened and then all of a sudden everyone was like trying to take a bunch of steps back from it, re the validity of it, and it's like, okay, that's questionable, but also why would it not be that? Like, why would it not be that? It's too close to even.
It's not going to be radically different from this.
No, for sure. Exactly. It's not going to be radically different from this. So why would it not just be this? Right. So if you're Nintendo and you're controlling the news cycle, you release this week on Wednesday, the 18th of September.
Right.
And then you do your direct next week.
Yeah, why not?
And then in between, in this shit sandwich, you bury this lawsuit that, again, everyone forgets about until, like, the general public forgets about until you win this lawsuit, where you have effectively killed this studio and killed this game, right? And it's like, well, what the fuck? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. It's super frustrating. And like, I don't know. Fuck Palworld. Like, it's not good.
Yeah, it's not a good game.
It's not a good game. It's not a good game. It's not
creative. It's not interesting.
Sure.
It's not really doing anything that is that interesting in the grand scheme of things, but it is playing with a palette in unfamiliar ways.
Yeah.
That Nintendo, if they did that, it would be interesting.
Yeah.
But they have refused to do it for 25 years.
Yeah.
They just want to make the same shit over and over and over again.
Over and over again. And it's like they
have no real incentive to not do it either. That's the thing.
For sure.
It's so close. I don't think people understand this. Pokemon is so close to Madden. It's unbelievable.
Yes.
It is just like these two franchises have had no meaningful movement except fucking roster updates, literally. Yes. That is literally the difference.
Yeah, the maps are different and there is a roster update.
The roster update.
It is a worse game than it used to be. It has less stuff in it than it used to be.
There's less stuff in it.
Yes. And it just is like, what are you afraid of?
Yeah.
Palworld is not threatening to you. Just because like it's pocket watching, right? And it's like that kind of is what Nintendo's side hustle is pocket watching, right?
Yep.
And it's like, if you're pocket watching and you're upset because Pocket Pair has made money on people who, again, are already buying your games. No one is going to buy Palworld and then not buy the next Pokemon game. You are going to sell 40 trillion copies of the next Pokemon game, even if the next Pokemon game has only Pikachu in it. They could release a video game called Pokemon 3 next year. They could just call it Pokemon 3, and the only Pokemon in it is Pikachu, and it will sell 30 million copies.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
No.
So to be like, we gotta, I don't know. It's fucking crazy.
We're really on autopilot, but we're bored. So
we're bored.
Should we go after another dev's money, or should we invest in this thing and see if we can make something better? And it's like, nah.
Now we'll do a lawsuit instead of make video game.
Feels good to Luigi's Mansion vacuum the money out of their pocket.
Yeah.
And just
and to sit in the bank.
Right. Yeah.
And again, if there was, if this conversation is again different, hypothetical, if a Pokemon game came out the same week as Palworld, and then another Pokemon game came out the year prior, and year over year, you could look at the number of Pokemon game sales coming down at a rate that is almost equivalent to the increase of Palworld sales.
Yeah.
Sure. It still sucks, but sure.
Yeah, it stinks, but sure.
I understand.
We used to call
that
competition. We used to call that competition.
Yes.
And dare I say, fair capitalism.
Yes.
That's an oxymoron.
No, for sure.
It's fucking.
That's the game that you have decided to play.
Right.
When you are make business, make thing, sell thing, is that Dawn will also be up against Ajax on the soap aisle.
Right.
You understand these things, even though it's probably the same company. But for the intents of this argument, like that's what you're doing. You understand that. But now it's like, no, we have the lockdown on the idea of catch lizard on street. What are you fucking talking about?
And it's scary to me because, like, I think the patent process is so interesting because I guess you really just have to have lawyers on your side that are constantly looking for these filings in order to and lawyers that know what you're making well enough to alert you. Hey, by the way, they've registered for something that sounds an awful lot like this is the process that like nobody is going through because they don't have the money to do it.
No, because
Nintendo has money to do stuff like
this. Exactly, right? Like, but it's like not...
it's just not something that anybody can reasonably do.
No. Yeah, when you have more money than God, like Nintendo does, you can employ lawyers to do only this.
Yeah. Yes.
Jeff Grubb says that Nintendo of America, and I this is deeply true, but Nintendo of America is a law firm that does PR for Nintendo on the side.
Yeah, that's pretty much true.
That's all it is, right? Yeah. And it's like they get the best lawyers on copyright and IP law, and they collaborate with the Japan team on how to protect the brand. And this is that. This is that. So I don't know. I have literally no idea because the patents aren't out. There's no there's no way they lose this lawsuit.
Probably not.
There's no way. No. Like Nintendo has too good of a track record.
Palworld doesn't have enough money. They made a lot of money on this game, but they don't have enough money to do
this. No, for sure. They will. They may not win the lawsuit, but they will settle.
Oh, they'll settle.
Which will effectively be a win. Yeah. And Nintendo will make. They'll just take 20% or whatever off of the fucking top of every Palworld sale moving forward.
Yep.
And then that'll be it. And then Pocket Pair will shrink, eventually wither and die, because again, nobody is playing this game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, sure, you had your moment, but like, you're not releasing another Pokemon game until next year, gang. And like, no one's going to be talking. Like, Palworld will come out on the PlayStation. It will be hot for 6 weeks again.
Yeah.
And everyone will forget about it again.
I wonder if that's really what's stuck in Nintendo's craw, is that they're like, our thing is now on these competitive hardwares. Like, our
for
thing
sure.
is.
But is that not a damning acknowledgement of the fact that they feel threatened by this thing
100%. That they should not feel threatened by.
Sucks.
Right. Yeah.
Like, obviously sucks and is obviously incomplete and is obviously.
It's never going to be a coherent product that
it lacks,
hits the mainstream.
It lacks any of the like tact or sharpness, which again are not really words that you can ascribe to the Pokemon series as of now. But historically, when people are like, well, I'm at the Target, my stupid fucking kid loves Pokemon. Like, that brand identity, they are not confident in it enough to be like, well, nobody's going to look at Palworld next to Pokemon on the shelf and be like, well, I'm going to pick Palworld.
Right.
It's tough. It's damning on all sides, I think, from a creative perspective and also from a like ideological, how they approach the world and what their job is as a legal body perspective.
We talked briefly about the Switch 2 leaks. It's bigger.
Yeah, it's bigger and the chip's bigger.
The chip's bigger.
The thing that is exciting,
the thing that is good,
is that there's 2 USB-C ports on it, and it seems like the top one is going to just be for charging, and then the bottom one will be for charging and docking. And putting a USB-C port at the top makes a lot of sense.
It is makes annoying so much as hell sense. That it comes out of the bottom. It is so annoying it comes out of the bottom. Because it'd be nice to plug that thing in and then prop it up, but you can't do that.
For sure. So Joy-Cons still nice. Seem to be the same shape.
The same shape. They're just a little bit bigger.
They're bigger, yes. And then the ZL and ZR buttons are bigger. It's got a microphone in it this time. So
you think they'll remember its touchscreen?
I think they will, just because it will be a phone screen, John. I think they will luck into the fact that it is a touchscreen.
Yeah. They really stop caring about that.
My real theory is that because it's magnets, the Joy-Cons are magnets. I think there will be rails in the sides so that you can turn it sideways to play DS games. I do think that will be
cool. That'd be fun.
Part of it in some way. I think they will be like, and Virtual Console also includes Nintendo DS games, because there's a microphone on it now.
Right. So that would make sense.
And otherwise, like,
it's more powerful. It's supposed to be.
It's the thing that they said that everyone wants it to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be
silly for it to not be.
PlayStation 4 powerful when you're on handheld, inching toward Xbox Series S when it's docked is what they say.
Yes.
It's not quite there,
which is great.
That's great. It means a few things. It means that if you are someone that only plays Switch but has been dying to play like third-party sports games or Redfall, third-party sports games or third-party shooters, I think there's a path to get like next gen
you will get a real
on
2K, a real Madden on this one. Which like 2K was in that like first ever rooftop party video. There was 2K in there.
Right.
And then it was revealed that 2K,
that's all,
the version of it was basically the mobile version. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. So it is the thing that it should be. Not surprising. I think this will be the first PS2 that they've ever made, which I think is going to be interesting for Nintendo, right? Like the idea that they are not changing the game radically. Well, I guess the DSi is kind of that, but it's like still fundamentally that's a Nintendo DS.
I mean, when they went from Nintendo to Super Nintendo, that was also
that's true. That's
PS2.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
I mean, it's going from 8 to 16-bit, but it's like it felt like a pretty safe progression. What's your you have raise your hand?
Did the SNES play Nintendo Entertainment System games?
It did not. You could get a adapter that allowed you to play Game Boy games on your Super Nintendo.
I remember that. I had that guy for the GameCube.
Right.
And it went on the bottom.
Yeah, no, Super Nintendo had some wacky peripherals and attachments and stuff, but
there was a gun.
There was a cool like rifle thing. Yeah, it was wild.
Gun.
A real
shot your
gun.
Real TV.
Shoot your TV. Paul Rudd did it in that ad.
Paul Rudd did it in that ad. You could go buy it from Michael Hyam over at the Big Five. He would sell you a real gun for your SNES.
A gun for your SNES. Switch to. Did you want something different out of it? I think your idea of the microphone and the DS stuff, that tracks, that feels good. Did you want them to do something?
I didn't want them to do anything different. I mean, like everyone is trying to get to them.
I know.
Right? Like everyone is trying to get to where they are. So like Nintendo making another one of those that is more powerful, like, that is the thing that they should have done. Yeah. I think Nintendo is in a weird spot where I would say is probably the version of Nintendo where they make weird stuff is probably dead. Right? Like I think it will be stuff as small as Labo moving forward, but there will not be as many swings as the Wii anymore because they have accidentally defined the generation. So
I think they will. It's interesting. I mean, they're really comfortable right now, and they should be. I do wonder if they get uncomfortable and restless and feel like they've gotten too far away from their playfulness and stuff like that, and they make next go around in 2032 if they decide to do something a little bit weird. I wonder that, but I think they're going to be really comfortable with this because it's
no,
so
for sure.
popular.
It's like we're making another Switch, and seeing this yesterday made me go, "Oh, it's just the Switch 2." Like they're just going to call it Switch 2. They're not even going to fuck around with Super Switch or like the Super Nintendo Switch. Like, they are going to put the number 2 on that fucking box, and it will be $4.99, $3.99 or whatever. Probably $3.99. How much?
I hope it's $3.99.
I think it'll be $3.99. How much is the Switch?
It's the
OLED Switch.
$2.99 right now, I think.
Okay, so it'll be $3.99.
Yeah,
it'll be $3.99, and all it'll do is just play the games that you're already playing better. You'll be able to play Fortnite for real, and I'll be amped about it. Like actually, like legitimately and actually, like
sure.
The fact that I cannot play, this is revealing about me. I don't really use my Steam Deck because the only game I want to play on it is Fortnite. I played Hades 2 on it, and then I put it away. I beat Hades 2. I finished everything there is to finish in Hades 2, and that machine is dead to me until Hades 2 comes out for real. If I could play Fortnite on it, I would use it every single day. I will use the Nintendo Switch every single day when it comes out, the Switch 2, because it will run Fortnite at 60 frames a second at 800p or whatever the fuck. And I'll have a good time being able to do it. And that is enough. That's literally all I need for me to want to buy it. The fact that other games will come out.
Machine.
Yes. Like the fact that other games are going to come out for it is a luxury.
Oh, they're putting a Mario on this thing?
Mario's coming out? Right. That's crazy.
I'll check that out.
In Fortnite, Mario's going to be... No, he's not going to be in the Fortnite.
Not going to be in
But I can still play Fortnite? I'm in.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
No, and that's it. And like, I do think there are a bunch of people who are the same as me, who are going to be like, there is a game that I am already playing that will run better and I will be able to carry. And I don't understand 100%. What the fuck Steam is. I don't know what that is. And like, but I do think that's true. Like the fact that you can't buy a Steam Deck at Target is confusing, right? Like I think that people don't understand. I was talking on
it's goofy. It's goofy to like boil it down to this, but if you can't buy it in a Target, there is a really big group of people that you're missing.
That's too much. And it's like if you can't, which is why I think I was, and I still continue to be very cold on the PlayStation 5 Pro, but like there are the argument, just go build a PC about it is like, no, you cannot be just like, go build a PC or go buy a PC about it, because you and I both know that the idea of plugging a Windows machine into your TV is insane.
It's a different thing.
It does too much.
It's a different thing. You really have to like, I mean, like Steam gives you tools that which like they're smart. It's just like they're smart. They've actually given you the tools to overcome all of these issues.
Yeah.
But the thing is that like that I have to do any of it is enough. I think too for much. Most people.
No,
to just
be
like, nah. Like
when you turn,
like when I plug in a PlayStation, if I had to tell the PlayStation to act like it's a console,
exactly,
I'd be like, oh, fuck off. Like I'd be frustrated with that.
The legwork required to you plug your PlayStation, you plug this PC into the computer, and then you need to use a mouse and keyboard on your TV. That's too much.
It's too much.
That's too far. The PlayStation, you plug it in, it asks you to scan a QR code on your phone. And then you scan the QR code on your phone and you log in and it logs you in, and then you play video games on the box, and it has Netflix and all that stuff.
Bing bong.
That's it.
Simple.
And it's too much to do anything else. Steam should make, follow me here, John.
Mm.
You call it a Steam machine. And it is a box that is basically a Linux
notes.
PC.
Okay.
And it goes under your television.
Mm-hmm.
And it runs in, let's see, what are we going to call it? Big screen, large screen, big picture mode.
Big picture mode, got it.
Because the screen is big.
You're going to say big mode, but that's Donkey's
No, big mode,
now.
that's something different. That's Donkey's thing. That's already taken. I'm calling my thing big picture mode. Because that's not taken. And big picture mode is going to turn it into a console-like experience for you.
And you don't have to tell it that. It'll just fire
No. It just does it. Plug it in,
sure.
and then when you want to go get a game, you put your credit card in, and maybe even it takes PayPal. Or maybe you scan it and it brings up an Apple Pay thing on your phone. Double click that bad boy, scan your face. Give them the $60 for Halo 2. Then you're done. That's my idea. You call them Steam machines. Steam
machine. Okay, Steam machine. I don't know if it's going to... Well, I didn't catch on the first time, so it may not catch on again.
I think do you think if they did Steam machines right now, do you think it would work? If they put a box that is as powerful as the Steam Deck out and it was $200, because like if you assume that the gap in item cost or production cost on the Steam Deck, you can get away with stripping away the fact that you need a controller and you need a screen and you need it to be handheld and you need a battery and all of that stuff.
I think what they ought to do seriously, because Steam sells the dock, Valve sells the dock. They ought to not put, they ought to go big box for one thing, and it is a packaged version of the Steam Deck that goes in Steam Deck that goes in the dark. It goes in the dock.
Yeah,
like it is here. It is. They show you how that is set up on the box. Basically, it is just a Nintendo Switch. But it is like, instead of docking at the bottom, it's going to sit in this thing, and there's going to be a little wire that comes over the top.
Yeah.
And then it just works on your TV. Like,
is the argument, I think that's,
I've set mine up like that, and it's pretty easy.
But I think there's still like, and Steam will never do this, and that's probably why. You can still buy games on the Steam Deck that do not work on the Steam Deck.
That is true.
And I think that probably is the gap, right? Because I think people will be under the impression that if I can buy it on this thing, it will work on this thing.
On this thing. Yeah, that's
true. Like Valve is functioning under the assumption that you are smart enough to understand that actually there are limits to this thing.
Right.
But for this, like, not to denigrate the Switch audience, but it's like, that understanding, Nintendo assumes that you don't know how the fucking thing works.
Right. You're not thinking about stuff like that.
They should make a second Halo game, and then they should make kind of a Microsoft, let's call it a Surface.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Surface, it's like a screen.
Right.
And on that screen, you can play a second Halo game.
Right. Can you play it with touch controls?
Yeah, and we'll call it Smart Glass.
Smart Glass.
Because the glass is smart.
God,
you can connect it to your Xbox One.
It'd be so cool.
And on the
NFL head coach with one of those.
No, but John, you think that's cool? Imagine. Okay, close your eyes. Think of if that thing was wrapped in the most garish child's blue padding you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, like
and
like
now
like you would find at a children's museum that lost its funding.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, all right.
And now imagine that it is being hurled by a professional athlete at 115 miles an hour directly at the ground.
And the athlete is Aaron Rodgers, and he's high on Percocet. And he's just
that's exactly right, John. That's exactly right, John.
Oh, wow, I love it. I can see it. Fast track 100 million units right now. Like everyone will have one. But you mentioned the PS5 Pro. Man, they really fucked me up because they announced the 30th anniversary
I want that controller so bad. I felt like really egg on my fucking face, dog.
Good.
I don't need. I'm iffy on controllers. or if you're on consoles, because they go underneath a thing, you don't look at them. But that controller
is sick. So for those who don't know, there's a PlayStation Pro SKU, a PlayStation base SKU, and a DualSense controller and a DualSense Edge controller that all have the styling and iconography and vibe of the original PSX, the PlayStation 1. They look so much better than the base versions of these consoles.
It's incredible.
It is embarrassing in a big way to me. Like, fine, whatever. Like, there are some people that like the way they look and whatever, but I'm just like, there's a team there that's got to be furious that that they're doing this limited edition thing, because it is just so clear that they could have just made these things look like
from the beginning. It is so, and I think this is like this I think is like an issue with many companies and branding broadly, and it's something that I think about a lot. Companies are so fast. They move so quickly. They move so
fast, yeah.
With the chase of new, that they forget that like there is inherent value in the fact that you've been making these boxes
for 30
fucking years.
Yeah.
Nobody else has been making boxes for this long.
No.
Like Nintendo. No. Nintendo is the only company that has been making a box for this long. Do you understand the visual, like the power of the PlayStation 1 boot animation is so strong. Not be leaning into that to the point of annoyance is sacrilege to me.
Yeah.
To not be leaning into the fact that you could be selling this console up and down, left and right, faceplates, skins, but individual button replacements. Like you should be leaning into the fact that you are one of the only 3 companies on the planet that makes a video game machine.
Yep.
For Valve. I will give them this because I actually do think that it is 4.
Yeah.
You're one of the 4 companies on the planet that makes a video game machine. And you are one of the only 2 who has been doing it for more than 20 years. And their decision is we only will do it for 3 months.
Yep. For its
12,000 every 5 years. 12,000 units.
12,000 units.
You idiots.
So the pre-orders started on September 26th. There's no way you're getting one.
No, not in a million fucking years.
I mean, it's just like
you're not getting, and it's like why the PlayStation 5 Pro should just look like the 30th anniversary version. That's just what it should be. It should be the 30th anniversary version of the PS5 Pro with the gray controller and the gray faceplates and that sick as hell charging thing that looks like a memory card being plugged in.
It
looks so good. And it's
so good.
I am preying on nostalgia is gross. Yes. But
there's
also
a way you could do it.
There's a way that you can do it in a way that makes sense. And it's like, there is also so much inherent value in respecting the thing that you made first. The first thing that you did and being able to be like, actually, gang,
we nailed
it.
We fucking nailed it.
We fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
And instead, it will be a limited edition thing where these controllers are going to cost $750 on eBay. I've already turned on Wario 64 notifications to buy a PlayStation 5 controller. That again, I do not need.
I don't need it. And what's crazy? I'm not okay, folks. I need everyone to hold me accountable. Okay, so hold me accountable.
Yes.
When I saw that, I was like, and I even tweeted, I was like, oh man, that's awesome. Not going to drop 700 on that Pro though.
What if you did?
For the past 4 hours, though, I've been kind of like...
No, for sure. What if you did?
What if I did, though?
What if you did? You don't need to. Don't.
They do.
I'll clown on you forever if you buy a PlayStation 5 Pro.
You'll never know.
Until the end of... Well, that's not true.
I'll never tell. I'll slip.
They'll put it. They'll brand you like a cow.
I played The Last of Us 2, and it was a little bit better looking.
But I got you,
you fucker. You got the pro. But they look good. They look good.
Great.
Like, they look good enough that I sincerely was like, oh, I went through it again where I was like, I don't need this, right? And I'm like, no, you don't. But it looked good enough that I legitimately did go through the flow chart again.
I will consider doing Amazon return fraud for the controller. Is all I'll say.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, that's a big,
because they don't check.
They don't check.
They don't check. They just buy weight. And I'm putting another PlayStation 5 controller in the box.
Yeah, and honestly, just like paint it gray if you want. If you want to take
I'm not even. That's so funny.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
I will take the good PlayStation 5 controller out. I will put a white PlayStation 5 controller in, and I will walk to the Whole Foods and I will say,
this one didn't work. This one didn't work.
Just one of them. Just one of them was not
the one that
functioning.
I just bought.
Yeah, it's crazy. I got it today.
I
got it today, and it didn't turn on.
Didn't turn on. Anyway, yeah. I called them. They told me to fuck off.
They said fuck off. Go take it back to
just take it
Jeff.
back. Take it back, you baby.
Yeah, and I said, okay Kaz.
Yes. No,
I said, okay, Kaz, I'll do it.
Yes, no. Have you played this UFO 50 game yet?
No, I got code for it yesterday. I'm gonna do it. This is another thing, right, John? Like,
it's not a game. It's 50 games.
It's 50 games, but I want to play it on my TV. Can I play it on my TV? No.
Not really. No, it's a PC only game for now. They will do a console port probably sometime next year. It is not as of yet Steam Deck compatible. It's been made. They've been making it for 8 years. There's a bunch of different devs, including the developer of Spelunky. It is 50 bespoke 8-bit era inspired games that are all actual fucking games. They're games that will take time to complete. Yes. They are full games. Some of them are multiplayer. Some of them are arcades. Some of them are deeper than all of that. It's a really interesting collection. It's a really interesting art installation. I'm very keen to try it out when I finally get my PC back as soon as tomorrow, if you're hearing this.
Wow, brag about it. John has a PC that plays video games. I'm John.
Well, we'll see once I plug it in, we'll see if it actually works.
Oh, my power cord. Remember when I brought that? Remember when I brought this PC into work because it didn't work when I brought it in?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Dude, is that video still on YouTube?
Probably. Yeah, I think it's still on YouTube.
Hold on. Fan by office hours. Niki PC.
I found PC. It. Found it. Easy. I'm sure I look really healthy and good.
Let me see if I can find a frame of you.
I looked as pasty as I always do. It's fine.
Less gray in the beard, though. What's that about?
Less gray in the beard. Folks, I've gotten way grayer the past year.
I was so skinny. Remember when we worked in the office?
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. We had job in office.
We had to go every
Dylan's
day.
Here.
Dylon.
What's
up, Dylon?
Dylon, if you're listening, enjoy Portugal. Is he there yet?
Portugal. Yes. I believe safe from the fires.
There's fires in Portugal?
Yeah. Pretty bad.
Oh.
Pretty bad fires in Portugal. Yeah, but UFO 50, that's out now. I think it's only $25, which is amazing.
That's a deal. That's $2 a game.
Nope. I know. Nope. That's $2 a game. 50 of them for $25. Mathematics. You see that the Concord director stepped down? That's kind of a bummer. I mean, I don't know what else he would do.
Yeah, no. What do you?
Yeah, but Ryan Ellis stepped down. There are still 150 people.
Honestly, not to be crazy. Why? They were going to fire you anyway, bud.
I'm.
That's severance, bud. That's a bad move. I understand. I understand falling on the sword. I get it. I get falling on the sword.
I know.
Sony would have paid you out, my guy.
Yeah. Well, he might. I don't know if he left. I think he just stepped down as director, which is,
What is that? That doesn't mean anything. Oh, director of the game that's not out.
I know. Well, they're apparently acting like they're still going to release something.
Okay.
Some people in the article I read were like, they were interviewed at Firewall. They said, "Oh no, we think we'll come out with something next year." Other people they interviewed were like, "This thing is dead." So that's just another interesting story to keep track of. Sorry to Ryan Ellis for having to step down. Last thing I'll talk about news-wise is the Dragon Age Veilguard previews dropped this week. And boy, folks that are really, really diehard about the series have indicated that it is quite good. People that are hard on it, well,
not to be crazy, but like, of course they are. They would have said the same. Like if John. I
don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that.
Really? I think some taken whatever. Slop.
I think some. So you're saying that our colleagues that went to that preview event have no integrity? That they would take
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I've taken every single piece of coverage thus far with a big grain of salt. Thinking everything I'm being shown tells me this is not my thing. And it has a tone I don't like. They're getting away from the set narrative pieces that got me interested in it to begin with. It looks like they've even stripped away more of the RPG elements. These previews that came out this week, though, the previews that came out this week have indicated that all of those things that I just said are apparently wrong.
I'm out. I want Anthem. Bring back Anthem. That was a great game.
BioWare,
robot.
You give me fucking Anthem back. We don't want Dragon Age.
Listen. I don't mean to say this in a way that is denigrating to people who like Dragon Age.
Right.
But like, of course. Of course. I
understand why you're saying that.
I don't remember a single fucking thing I did in Dragon Age Inquisition. Gun to my fucking head, could not name. I like that game. Okay, but for everybody else, this may as well be the first time they're releasing one of these. It has been so long.
It's been a long time.
There is no pedigree off of which BioWare and the Dragon Age name are building off of. I think the people who are predisposed to like this game are going to like this video game. And I think the hardest sell is going to be to get people who have no idea, like me, who have no idea what the fuck this video game is, to buy the video game. And I don't actually think they've done enough for a game that comes out next month.
In a month and
in a month and a half.
Yeah, 6 weeks.
To be like, get in here.
Okay. Because I can see that. I can definitely see that. I can definitely see that. They have not.
I'm very bullish.
No, you're bearish
on this.
Oh, you're
game.
Bullish?
Which one is the one where I'm like not confident in its ability to sell?
Because you're going back into a cave.
And bulls come out of cave into China shop.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense.
The bulls have left their caves and they're entering the China shops. They're running through the streets of Pamplona to find the China shops.
I don't know. I'm excited about it insofar as like my sicko pervert friends who like these games are going to be amped about it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what lessons they learn specifically from Baldur's Gate 3. Obviously, it's like probably too late to pivot on too many things, but they already said that they're not really thinking about DLC. They're going to see, just kind of they're wanting to create something that is as complete as it comes. That might
coming in it.
There's coming in it. That might be a really interesting double-sided coin of in the sense that like saying like, oh, well, like we really want to focus on making a complete game. You could say that as like we're confident that we're going to make a complete game, or you can see that as we're not confident we're going to get another shot to do anything.
No, for sure.
And I think like
they're not going to give us another go.
I think both can be kind of true, so we'll just kind of see like what happens there. But yeah, we got some hype questions. Should we
hold on?
Those?
Can we go to break? I have to pee again
because you keep drinking.
Oh, that's why I had to pee on the last.
That's why I had to pee on the last podcast. All right, we'll be right back, folks.
Entertaining the audience. No.
No. I'm not. We're not doing that. I'm gonna.
No.
No, we're gonna cut.
John. John, it's the 100th episode of the show.
No, it's not.
John, it's the 100th episode. We've been doing this for 17 years and 100.
I'm not vamping. I've been podcasting. I've been podcasting for 2.5 hours. I'm not going to vamp. John. I'm going to show you my dog. And by you, I mean no one, because no one can see this video. I'm going to hold up Ravioli. Hi, Ravioli. Look at this sweet boy.
Leave all of that in. Leave all of that in because John refused to adhere by the podcaster's oath, the podcastic oath that we all signed, that I signed 4 years ago when I started podcasting.
The Rogancratic oath.
Dogs are great. I fucking love dog. You ever heard of dog? Dog goes.
Really good. Dog good.
Let me get mine.
He's sleeping.
He is.
Barley bear.
She's sleeping. She smells like she's been sleeping.
Yo. What does that smell like? That she's been sleeping?
It smells like concentrated barley because she's been on herself.
Oh yeah.
And hasn't opened her mouth in God knows how long. So it's gross.
Yeah, like gross smells in there. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. All right.
Time for hive questions, huh?
We've got hive questions. We have a question from where is it? There we go. It's Abyssal Dition. Do you know of any other examples besides Dragon Ball Z Budokai, like loading screen mini games? You could mash to eat and stack empty bowls of rice during the loading screens.
I feel like Namco had a patent on those, right?
Namco has a patent on this. They have a patent,
but it's
on
gone
this.
Now. It's expired.
I think it is gone. But that was the first time that I had ever experienced that was playing the original Tekken on PlayStation. You could play Galaga during the loading screens, which was insanely cool. And so I love stuff like that. Buddy, stop doing that. I have a dog that's annoying me. All right. He keeps licking the touchpad and moving the cursor.
FIFA, you used to be able to kick the ball around.
Yeah, you used to be able to actually do like screens. little like dribbling, live stuff, which was really impressive. Yep. So there are a few examples. I do like those. I haven't played Dragon Ball Z Budokai, but that sounds fun and cute. That loading screen mini game. But yeah, Namco is the one that did this the most up to a point, and then some other people have done it as well. Yes. Good question. Thank you. Okay, so Nikki, I don't know if this is a you question, but what's the last arcade only game that you feel like was a must play? Your answer will probably be wildly different from mine, because I think just because of age difference.
I mean, I think I have of two minds of this. Yeah. I think that like Tunithm, which is a rhythm game that is arcade only, is phenomenal. And I think if you are a person that liked Guitar Hero, there is a level of, even if I don't know what I'm doing with this instrument in theory, like or in actual practice, where it feels like I'm doing the thing a little bit. So Guitar Hero does that for guitar, and Tunithm does that for piano. I think Tunithm it might be my second favorite rhythm game after Rock Band or Guitar Hero as a concept. I think Killer Queen Black, which like really does not exist anymore. You can't even. I didn't even realize you can't buy that game on Steam anymore, which
weird,
fucking
right?
sucks.
Yeah,
but that game goes so hard. When I was living in San Francisco in from 2016 to 18, there was a bar called Free Play ? And I'm sure the bar is still there. But they had a Killer Queen Black machine with 6. Like it was a full cabinet. And that game was fucking incredible. And definitely was the first time I was like, oh, this must have been what it was like to play video game at arcade in past.
It definitely had the juice and the vibe of an old arcade game.
Yes.
That had to
Daytona USA always bangs. And then Bishibashi, I think is what that game is called. Bishibashi Special or something. Okay. There's a it's basically WarioWare, but it's an arcade game made by Konami. Okay. And I think that is good. These are just games that I really like. But like when I think about like arcade experiences, really right now it's like Bishibashi Panic with people and Tuna Them with people are the games that I think about in arcades.
Good answers. I'm gonna cheat a little. It's like arcade only release is tough because like so many of my favorites did end up getting ports, but they just weren't very good. Hydro Thunder was so fucking fun as an arcade experience. Was not really replicated at home, so that was like as you would sit in the fucking thing and it would move. Like it was really good. So I love that. There were like those like Jurassic Park shooters, which were kind of fun that you never really replicated. Time Crisis got
those
ports,
are great,
but they were much more fun. Much more fun.
Yes,
in
with the
arcade.
Step. The step is important.
With the step's important. And something like
Halo 2.
Oh my god, I've lost it. Well, there is a Halo game that is
Halo
fun.
Spartan Assault's
the Star Wars arcade machine. The Star Wars arcade machine is really fun.
The Vector one.
The Vector one.
Mm-hmm. That game is great. I actually do love that game. They have that game at it's fucking closing. Speaking of arcades, unfortunately, Button Mash. If you're at Angelino or have been to Los Angeles, Button Mash, which has been a long-standing for 10 years staple in Echo Park, is closing, which is a bummer.
That sucks. That stinks.
But they did have the Star Wars Vector machine. That game is good.
That game is very cool. This was My Hero Zero asking an arcade question. Also asked, any fun arcade memories you can share?
I mean, the first time I played Killer Queen Black, I was fucked up. And I rolled up on a group of 7 that were already playing Killer Queen Black on the table. And I was like, I want to play. And I'm like 22. And I'm like amped about playing this game with these 30-year-olds. And I did god awful, just terrible, but I had a blast. And then the first time I like legitimately will always remember the first time I went to I think that bar was also called Free Play. There need to be different names for bars that have arcades in them.
Yeah, they've only got a couple of. Yeah.
There's only a couple. I think this bar was also. John, I've remembered. The bar in San Francisco is called Coin Op. Bar in Providence is called Free Play.
Free Play.
The first time I went to Free Play, they did not have any Japanese rhythm games.
Right.
The second time I went to Free Play, they had Sound Voltex. And I said, ain't no fucking way. They got Sound Voltex, and I was so bad at it, but I had a fucking blast. And then the next time I went, they had Chunithm, and then they had whatever game where it's like, it's a 4x4 grid of cubes that have screens in the cubes, and then the cubes light up and you hit the cubes to play the game. And I was, again, unbelievably drunk. And I had a blast playing these rhythm games. So those are my ideal memories.
I know I've told the story somewhere on some podcast, but really good arcade memory. My mom took me to putt-putt when I was probably 10, let's say. Tekken 2 had just come into the arcades, at least in the United States. My mom and I were playing against each other. I was playing by myself for a while, and then she was like, I want to play. And I was like, okay. And so she picked Yoshimitsu. I think I was Heihachi. And she kicked my
Mishima?
ass. Yep. And she kicked my ass. 40-year-old woman, tall, very thin, blonde, well put together woman. Looked, elegant on a Tuesday afternoon for no reason.
Stomped you.
And stomped me. But the problem is that there was a line of kids behind me. And my mom was like, here, you play. And I was like, no, you beat me. And she then proceeded to beat like 5 teens in a row with Yoshimitsu, which was very fucking funny. So I think about that a lot.
Do you think, John, that there will be a moment again where we will get arcade-specific releases anymore?
No.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it is dead because I think we've lost. We could go deep on this. We probably shouldn't, but we've lost communal spaces so dramatically.
Yeah,
and we've lost the idea that we go commune. I think there are pockets of people who are getting back to it. I know you go out and do stuff. Like you go out and do stuff. Just being
like very intentionally and specifically,
right?
Like, and it is hard. Like
it is hard.
It is not an easy thing. Like, and I don't mean to like blow smoke up my own ass, but like it is a difficult thing to be like, oh, okay. Like the only way to make change in the way that I want to, the only way to build relationships that I want to, is to meet people where they are, which is explicitly outside of the internet. And it is, yes, and it is out. Yeah. But yes.
I mean, even just living, being here, not even fully living here for the past month, I've done more. I've like gone out and done stuff. I've looked at things to do. You have to have an intentionality about it in a way that I don't think you used to have to.
Yeah.
But then again, all my arcade memories are also so wrapped up in being in school. I was in school, or I was at the very beginning of work where you're in communal spaces all the time. And so it's really easy to carry those communal spaces into an arcade or into a putt-putt or into the movie theater or into a sporting event or whatever. And it's really easy to do that. And now you have to be so intentional about it.
That's such a good idea for a video game, John.
Yeah, what's that?
God. Man, you only gotta sell like 200 of them.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Okay.
And it is functionally 1 versus 100.
Okay.
Except you are just playing against other people who are also in Dave and Buster's.
Oh.
And also in arcades. And the screen is yelling, right? When it is idle. The screen is yelling. The screen is saying,
next up.
There are 17 people waiting to play with you right now.
Yeah.
And it is a game that is like a hybrid between like a Deal or No Deal or a trivia situation or like a racing, and and it's like, oh,
smart.
That would bang, right? Because it's like all it needs to be is connected to the internet. And it doesn't even need to be particular, but it's like it does the thing that is like bring people together in physical space, but also connect you to people far away, which is like what we have moved towards. Cut that out. Jordan, cut that out.
Jordan,
my good video game idea. I need to think more about it. Cut it out. TM.
Cut it out. TM. But good question. I miss arcades. I miss kind of going to the arcades. I miss feeling like game discovery was something I would do at arcades. That is that's the part that
that part I don't understand.
Only old shit is what I care about. The new shit is all so tied up in free-to-play gamified bullshit that like I went to Dave & Buster's a few years ago and I saw that there was an Immortals machine. Is that the name of that game?
What are you talking about? What is Immortals? What is it? What do you do in it? You're almost definitely right, John, but I just don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. What is Immortals? Like Diablo?
No, the Mortal Kombat game with superheroes.
Injustice. Yes. No, you were close, dude. It's not on you. Hey,
but when I
John,
said Immortals, when I said it, I was like, it's not right. It's not. I know it's an I word, but that didn't sound right.
No, for sure. But that's just an Xbox 360 in there, right? Like it's just an Xbox 360.
No. Crucially, understand this. It is literally the mobile port of Injustice that doesn't have, that has half the controls, none of the strat. It's got a bunch of bullshit attached to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is what arcades are now.
For sure.
And it's just like, you have to find the retro, you have to find like there are arcades like Dave & Buster's, which like, believe me, I can go to Dave & Buster's and still have a really fucking good time.
No, for sure. Absolutely.
Where else
you're going to get the worst chicken tenders you've ever had in your life?
You've ever had
of beer for $8.
Yeah. A fish bowl full of Ajax and vodka. It's like, I can still have a blast, but it's like, I'm not going there to remind myself of the good days of arcade gameplay.
Yeah,
it's a bunch of new shit that you would find literally, not kidding, in a Vegas casino or on your phone.
Yeah, Doodle Jump. But they have Minecraft. I will say the best
Minecraft Dungeons
recent
is cool.
The best recent adaptation of game that is already out to arcade is Minecraft Dungeons. I do think Minecraft Dungeons in the arcade, which cool. I think might be Dave & Buster's exclusive, honestly. Yeah. I do think that game fucking whips. Like, I actually do think they got the whole thing. And there's more, right? Like, it spits out cards. Like, it spits out specific cards that you can then tap onto your station that give you power-ups and abilities. And I do think that's like legitimately interesting. But it is more rare to find games that are doing interesting things in the physical space with the video game than it is to find games that do nothing in it.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. All right, big arcade talk. That was fun. A couple more questions. All right, so we have a question from Charlie. Thank you, Charlie. I think this might be your first question. Hi, Charlie. Yeah, thanks, Charlie. It's a long question, but I'll boil it down. Which sites do you think have had a Switch 2 announcement template the longest? And then they ask some questions about, those kinds of things generally, which we'll get into.
I don't understand the question.
So you remember when Imran? Remember when Imran?
Oh, like in the webs, like in the CMS.
In the CMS. Where Imran before an E3 would be like, all right, I think they're going to announce this. I'm going to go ahead and write.
Imagine Games Network.
Yeah. So IGN's had it the longest. I totally agree.
Yes, it's got to be.
Some other websites, Kotaku's probably had it because they're very on the SEO game. They've had these things for a long time. Any website with a staff, I think, larger than 4 that is doing daily news work probably has a version of the template up.
Yeah.
And Charlie also asked, like, when do you update these things? Are these things even real? I can tell you that, yes, they are real. Like, yes.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
But they're super real. And it's basically a way to get there first and to also put out the very broad general information that you either know already or can assume will be there with 99%.
No, for sure. Because the way Google works, right? Like, there is value in being able to be like, well, we pushed it first. Yep. Even if the article is at time of publish 150 words, Microsoft is announcing Halo 2, more to come.
Right.
If you have that nugget of information that Halo 2 is coming, then yeah. John, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
The reason I needed you to repeat the question is because I was watching Shohei Ohtani hit his 50th home run.
His 50th home run. Congratulations, Shohei Ohtani.
In his season where he has also stolen 50.
He's also stolen 50 bases and also doesn't have a working elbow, which is crazy.
Yeah, he can pitch again next year.
I don't understand it. When they were like, he's having Tommy John surgery, he can't pitch. I was like, well, that probably doesn't feel good to swing with that either. And he's like, watch this. And
watch this. The first 50-50 burger in season.
That's crazy.
Listen, but that's the power of human growth hormone, John.
That is,
you can do anything with HGH.
Shohei Big. I'm not going to say anything else, but Shohei Big.
I will. That guy's got to be on the juice.
Shohei Big.
He's got to be on the juice.
He might be.
Every 10 years, a different guy gets to be on the juice.
Mm-hmm. Could not be worse. Could not be worse. Asks an interesting question. I don't know how much meat is on this bone, but it's worth asking. We were talking about kind of like mixed feelings about covering games, shitty people, politics in terms of like how much weight do we give this? How much energy do we give this? All that stuff. We were talking about that a few weeks ago. Is there any angle to cover that stuff that's like service journalism in the sense of saying like, okay, this game is out and it's made by someone who sucks. Here's some stuff like it.
For sure. I think so. But it's like...
But it's giving energy to that in a different way.
Yes.
I would say
and also very rarely do you get anything... There's a scale issue, right? Like with Hogwarts, you're not going to be able to recommend that a person go play something that is at the scale and... like with the intention of a game like Hogwarts Legacy, you can't recommend anything like it because it is so big that there's nothing. Yeah,
the analog is different enough. That's like Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah, sure.
But then it's like
that feels wrong.
That feels wrong. That feels
off. and it's also like, oh, so you're sending them to EA,
right? Sure.
And it's like, okay,
right,
yeah. It's tough. I think it's a situation. Tough. The smaller games that are doing things that are toxic and shitty, like very easy to avoid for sure, and recommend things that are like them. But then like at the AAA level, that makes it really difficult.
It does. But that's a good question. I mean, I do think, I think there's something I do like is when a big thing comes out and it's like, oh, did you like this? Here are some similar things like it. So it's really just a different version of that question, and I think it's fine. Like if people did that, I think that'd be fine. Fine, we'll just cover this one too. Are there any actual examples? This is from Steve McDykel. Are there any actual examples of successful anti-woke games? What does that even look like? Postal, maybe. When I go anti-woke games, I don't think of games that the anti-woke crowd gravitate toward. I think of games that very explicitly fly against values that seem progressive. So Space Marine 2, I would not say is anti-woke. It is just a very basic back to basics video game that the anti-wokers
made by a guy who
by a guy who fucking stinks.
Yeah.
Okay. The CEO of Saber stinks. Matt Karch stinks. And he said some stuff about Asmongold earlier that was like, I love your stuff and we want to make anti-woke bullshit like they used to make. But it's like, I think I think there are examples of games that kind of scratch that quote anti-woke itch, but I don't know if I would say that they are designed to be like that. Postal wasn't even that successful.
No, for sure.
Older Duke Nukem games, like kind of.
Are those anti-woke though, or is that like a perpetuation of a bad, flawed like ideology that is out of place
also
and time?
They're satirical. I mean, I'm not saying it's good satire. But it's satirical, so I don't really think there is a great example of that has been successful.
That's huge. No games are anti-woke.
No games.
That's awesome.
Anti-woke. That's what I said.
That's what we say. Yep.
Finally, Sleeping Dykel also asks, hey, since y'all play and think about games, at least semi-professionally, what do you do to unwind and relax? Does John secretly do needlepoint? That's a great question. We really haven't talked about that kind of stuff on this podcast. So,
I love to not be in front of a screen now.
Yeah.
I really love to not be in front of a screen at this point in my life.
Nice.
I will do anything else. I've lately, I mean, like, of course, like if you know anything about me, like I'm an Angel City supporter. So I will go to games or I will go to watch parties, to watch Angel City games. I guess like it is technically in front of a screen if I'm watching soccer or whatever, but you like
different. Yeah.
And like I'm exploring my neighborhood, like literally going on walks. Like I'm actively trying to do things that are not on the computer.
Yeah.
That are not related to the things that I'm doing. It is, I think, really important for me, at least, to be able to have the peace of mind and security that I do in the work that I do, to be able to be like, well, at least it's over there for me. Because I think, especially during the pandemic, it was like the height of the pandemic. It was not
so
that. Like I was like, sometimes I think about John, and I was thinking about this because our 2-year anniversary of being laid off was this week, right? It was on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I've thought about and said very little about that, but yeah, that was 2 years ago.
But like I was so sad on Tuesday.
Oh, really?
No idea. And had no idea why until I like opened Blue Sky and I saw that Jordan had posted it. And I was like, oh, that's why I feel weird in my body. But it did feel far enough away that it felt like impossible, particularly to place. But like I also, as part of those memories, was like, yeah, dude, like July 2020, I was sitting in front of the computer at 8 a.m. and not getting up until 8 p.m.
Bummer.
Doing what? Who fucking knows?
Right.
But like, I mostly got to the point where I was like, I cannot do that again.
No.
So when I try to exist now, I'm moving away from that. What about you?
Well, when I have a kitchen and when I have my stuff, I like to cook. It's been a fucking minute since I've cooked something. I could have cooked. That's not true. I did a little bit of cooking when I was here at my mom's.
That's different. It's not your house, though. You know,
it's not my house. It's true.
Yeah.
It's awkward. But yeah, I like to cook. Hang out with my dogs. I like to watch sports. I do like to write. I have been trying to get back into writing a bit. That is still on screen, so I try to limit that time. But
you got to get one of those typewriters, those like easy type.
I could do
typewriter joints.
I could do that.
You know what my fucking dream is, John? I wish someone would give me $800 so I can buy a daylight computer. You seen these things?
Computer? No, what's that?
It's like an iPad, except it is e-ink.
Okay.
So it looks like this. The screen looks like it's not actually e-ink. It is like some other like evolution of e-ink. Like if the refresh rate is at 60 frames a second, you can like actually zoom in and zoom out. Like it looks. You can watch a video on it, and it actually runs. Not like a Kindle where it like has to clear the screen and then refresh it every frame.
Right.
There is a part of my brain that's like, I would actually be unlocked if I had a computer that was like this, that was like not actually a screen and was like a piece of paper that I could do other things on for sure. But it's like, do I need to spend $800 fucking dollars on this? No way. Not in a million years for a shitty Android tablet. No way.
But like, this is the kind of thing that like in a movie 30 years ago, they're like, this is what future computer will look like. And it's like, yeah, awesome.
Yes. And it's like, what if a piece of paper was alive? Like
amazing.
And active, like I have been in the same mindset where I'm like, it would be sick to have something like this that isn't screen, but allows me to do screen related things like read or write. So
yeah.
So
I've been, we're moving into a new neighborhood. There's a park right there, River Legacy Park. I already went to a Dallas Wings game last week, which was a lot of fun. We didn't win, but it was a lot of fun.
It's okay.
And like, I'm looking at going to FC Dallas games. I'm looking to go to
buddy, games. Toyota Stadium 2028, bud. What is this Canadian accent I'm doing?
I don't know what that was, but it was good.
2028, bud.
I want to go to at least 5 Mavs games. I want to go to at least 1 Cowboys game this year. I want to go to 20 Rangers games next year. So it's like I do want to go see more live sports and stuff like that. There's just, I don't know if you know about this, Niki, but when you live in a big city, there's a lot to do.
Almost too much to do.
almost too much
creates decision. Here's my idea. So I had create what? You don't even know what the fucking idea is yet, John. This is just like earlier when you said the steam machines already existed. What the fuck are you talking about? My new idea is called decision paralysis. Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's where there's so many choices you don't know what to do, so you do nothing instead.
It's great. Yeah.
It's tough.
There is too much to do, but also it's so fucking different from being in a place where there really isn't anything to do.
There's nothing to do for sure.
So even when you
feel like you're doing nothing, you are still deeply doing something.
You're doing a lot. There's a lot of pockets. It's like Arlington's a weird place because it is pretty much smack dab in the middle between Dallas and Fort Worth. So there are two whole ass cities, as well as Arlington, which like people forget is the 7th largest city in Texas,
which is crazy.
And Plano, where my parents live, is the 9th largest city in Texas.
When Jerry World is full, how big is Arlington? Because like San Francisco is bigger.
Full, it's about 900,000 people.
So does that move it up to like 4th biggest in Texas?
No, I think it moves it up like one slot.
Okay. Because like San Francisco, and this is one of my issues with the city of San Francisco, which I like San Francisco, but like it is a city that is bigger in the daytime than it is at night. Right. So it is like two completely different vibes because people come into it to work and then leave in the nighttime. So, yeah. But yeah, for sure.
Totally different vibes. But yeah, I think Niki's definitely like demonstrably gone out to do more things in the past couple of years, which is awesome. I think good for your brain.
Great for my brain.
Great for your brain. Also good for my brain. Moving back to a place that if I want to go do something, it will almost certainly be different if I want it to be.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful. So yeah. No needle pointing. Not yet. I'm not a crafts person.
You love using your hands, Sean.
My witchy hands.
Every day.
You're going to use your witchy hands to ask us a question every single week. If you join the Hive, if you go to vgbs.com/join and you can become a member of the Hive. There are several different levels. You can join the Discord, even at the free level. But you got to be a paid member to ask us Hive questions in the Hive content channel of our Discord server. So think about that. We had a couple of new askers this week, so that was great.
Thank you
so much for your questions. Niki, anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
No, Infrastructure Week is next week over at giantbomb.com.
That's exciting.
So get hype for trucking simulators.
Get hype. That's exciting.
And otherwise, nothing really. I think like the WNBA season ends this week. Playoffs start in a week. If you're looking for stuff to watch, you should watch the WNBA playoffs.
Should be interesting.
NWSL season is starting to wrap up. Merit is doing Merit Souls again, just as an offshoot. As an Merit K, our former coworker. If you listened to us listened or watched us over at Fanbyte, Merit has been playing through the Elden Ring DLC over on her Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MeritK. And I think that's all I got.
A lot. That's a lot. And I really appreciate all of those. Very many good things to go check out. Infrastructure Week, I'm really excited about. So go check out giantbomb.com. As for me, we just recorded our 100th episode of If You're Driving, Close Your Eyes. It was a really good episode. I can't believe we've been doing that for so long. We've been really together doing that for 4 years, but 100 episodes of this new iteration of the show. It's been a blast. That'll go up for folks on Monday if you're listening to this on Friday or over the weekend. And yeah, you can follow VGBs at VGBs everywhere. You can go to VGBs.com right now. We posted a really interesting article about cookie clickers in game earlier this week from Jay Costello. That was a lot of fun. So go read that. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for all your questions. Thanks for your patronage. And keep on buzzing. Bye.
Buzz.